Welcome to Ping Pong Dreams, where every stroke is not just a point scored, but a story etched into history. Here, we don't just tell tales of champions through numbers and medals. We tell them through heart, through sweat and blood, and through the dreams that shaped generations. Throughout the 20th century, there stood a wall that seemed unbreakable: the total dominance of Asia, particularly China and Japan, in the sport of table tennis. But then, one day in 1971, a blonde-haired boy from a small seaside town in Sweden stepped onto the court and made the world stop and stare. He wasn't big. He didn't carry a reputation, but with unshakable calmness and unwavering belief, he shattered a near 2-decade-long monopoly. Today, we relive the story of Stellan Bengtsson, the trailblazer, the game changer, the man who proved that table tennis dreams belong to everyone, not just a chosen few. When people speak of those who changed history, they recall impossible victories, earth-shattering moments, and those who dared to defy the era they lived in. In table tennis, one name is etched into the memories of millions: Stellan Bengtsson, the small Swedish boy who did what no one thought possible, breaking Asia's absolute dominance at the highest level of world table tennis. The 1960s and early 70s were a golden age for China and Japan on the world table tennis stage. Asian athletes didn't just dominate the podium, they set new standards for speed, precision, and mental fortitude. Other nations were mere shadows behind them. In this landscape, a blonde boy, barely 5'7" tall and weighing just over 50 kilograms, appeared quietly on the scene. Few imagined he would rewrite history. Stellan Bengtsson was born in Falkenberg, a small coastal town in Sweden where table tennis wasn't the dream of youth. But for Bengtsson, a racket and a small white plastic ball became his entire universe. From a young age, he was enchanted by the rhythm of rallies, the echo of bouncing balls in old gyms. With no famous coaches or professional training systems like in China or Japan, Bengtsson honed his skills through passion, patience, and an unshakable belief that table tennis belonged to no one. At 15, he shocked Sweden by defeating senior players. At 17, he was called up to the national team, and just a year later, in 1971, at only 19 years old, Stellan Bengtsson rose to the pinnacle of the world at the World Championships held in Nagoya, Japan. That victory wasn't just a title, it was an earthquake. The world held its breath as Bengtsson took down the strongest players from China and Japan, nations that had reigned supreme for nearly 2 decades. With intelligent play, blistering pace, and incredible footwork, Bengtsson proved that European technique could match and even surpass the East, if developed properly. That final match, Bengtsson versus Mitsuru Kono, the Japanese champion, remains one of the most intense duels in history. Over 5 gripping sets, Bengtsson never flinched. Every forehand was a precision-guided arrow, every defensive move a calculated masterpiece. When he unleashed the final smash to clinch the title, the arena erupted. A new era had begun. Stellan became the first non-Asian player to be crowned world champion. He symbolized resilience, a spirit unwilling to bow before any system. Suddenly, the small nation of Sweden found itself at the center of global table tennis attention. And Bengtsson, once a quiet, ordinary young man, became a national hero. But the journey of a man who breaks dynasties does not end with a single win. After that historic triumph, Bengtsson didn't fade away. He continued to perform at the highest level throughout the 1970s. He wasn't a flash-in-the-pan sensation. He was the steady flame, laying the foundation for the golden age of European table tennis. He wasn't alone in his efforts. Bengtsson inspired future legends like Waldner, Appelgren, and Persson, players who would continue the long resistance against Asian dominance in the years to come. What made Bengtsson stand out wasn't just technique, it was how he played the game. He didn't rely on brute force or frantic energy. He played like a strategist, with patience, deep reading of the game, and control over tempo as if orchestrating a silent symphony. In 1973, during a team event match against Li Jingguang, one of China's best, Bengtsson was trailing 0-2. The stadium roared in support of the Chinese star, but Bengtsson, with his trademark icy calmness, didn't panic. He didn't rush to level the score. He subtly changed tactics, shifting the rhythm and slowly wearing his opponent down. Set by set, the tide turned, and Bengtsson won the next 3. The crowd fell silent. Within the Swedish national team, he led not with shouts or speeches, but with quiet example. Always the first to arrive at practice, always the last to leave, always humble. His philosophy on table tennis transformed Sweden's training system. Rather than mimicking Asia, Sweden found its own style, built on strategy, creativity, and individuality. Bengtsson once said, "I don't want to win fast. I want to peel back my opponent layer by layer until they realize they simply cannot get through." When he stepped away from professional competition, Bengtsson didn't retire from the sport. He became a coach, not just in Sweden, but in the United States, where table tennis was still a niche sport. His training sessions were not about pushing physical limits. They were about feeling, rhythm, and mindfulness. He used to say, "If you can't feel the ball, you'll never feel the match. And if you can't feel the match, you'll never control it." He wasn't just teaching strokes, he was teaching how to love the game, how to live inside each rally. His students, from children to elite players, said that Stellan taught them to find beauty in patience. In interviews, when asked about Waldner, widely considered Sweden's greatest player, Bengtsson would simply smile and say, "I'm proud of him, because I know I helped clear the path so he could walk it faster." He didn't need to be at the center of attention, but everyone knew it was he who first lit the fire. Stellan's story is a quiet epic. He didn't shatter walls with hammers. He wore them down with persistence, day by day, rally by rally, sweat by silent sweat. Now in his later years, living quietly in the US, Bengtsson continues to coach, to inspire. Back in Sweden, training halls bear his name. His legacy isn't a loud one, it's the heartbeat beneath generations of players who believe that brain, will, and discipline can move mountains. Even now, with China regaining its overwhelming dominance and young European talents rising up once more, Bengtsson's name resurfaces. Not just for what he did, but for what he taught us. To defeat giants, you don't need to be stronger. You just need to be smarter, braver, and endlessly persistent. You've just listened to the incredible journey of Stellan Bengtsson, not just a champion, but the first torchbearer who illuminated the path for European table tennis on the world stage. From a boy in a small town, he climbed to the sport's highest peak with one burning belief: limits exist only if we accept them. Stellan never needed grand speeches. He didn't need to break down barriers with noise. He stayed calm, steady, and did what no one dared to dream. He rewrote history, not with brute force, but with intellect and determination. His story is a reminder that anyone, from anywhere, can write a new chapter in history, if they dare to believe, fight, and never give up. Thank you for joining us on Ping Pong Dreams. If the story of Stellan Bengtsson moved you, follow our channel and share this podcast with those who need a little more faith. So together, we can keep the dreams of sport burning bright.